I wanted to go over the Valentine's update mysterious letter, which a lot of people believe could be from Gaster. I'm not here to argue whether it's from Gaster or not, but I do have some observations that I would like to share. Okay, so the coat and face thing is like my most favorite part, so we'll come back to that later. There's a part in the letter where he says, "You were quite odd responding out loud to a letter." And then after that, so you're quite reliable, or you seem reliable. Now, I've heard a lot of theorists saying that the reader and agreed to help this person, like, will you help me? And you're odd responding out loud to a letter. But we don't actually know that. All we know is that he asked if we would help, and then he's saying that we responded out loud to that request. But he doesn't say thanks for your help. He says, oh, you seem reliable. But reliable does not equal obedient. We could have said, hell no, I'll never help you. And he could have just been like, or I'm saying he, it could be anyone. We don't know the gender of the letter sender. I'm using he because I'm in Camp Gaster, but let's just say the author because I want to honor all theories on who sent this. But yeah, this person might be like, hey, I know that you oppose me and you're going to try to strike me down at every turn. I can count on you to do that. You are reliable, as in your behavior is predictable. I've got you figured out and I can build my plans and I know that I can count on you to do what you're going to do and all my stuff's going to fall into place. The author also talks about, oh, I've forgotten someone, but I'm sure that when I see them, I'll know them straight away. And I just wanted to point out how this parallels to the deja vu that other characters experience in Undertale when you do another playthrough and they're like, wow, you look really familiar. So it seems that memories of previous timelines are triggered by the sight of other people or interacting with other people. Deja vu in real life can often be triggered by inanimate things like the sight of something or a sound. It doesn't have to be a person, but in Undertale, I don't recall any dialogue of someone saying, hey, you know what? This snow falling around me, I feel like I've done this before. They're always like, you seem like you know what's going to happen, or this feels odd. I feel like I know you from somewhere. So it seems very tied to connection, like the connection between characters, which is such a big part of the Maker sequence and all of that stuff with the are we connected? So that's interesting. I also wanted to point out near the end of the letter, it says you hear the sound of something walking away. I find it very interesting that they say something and not someone. We know Toby Fox is very deliberate in what he does, what he puts out. I don't think this is a mistake or a coincidence. I'm wondering if it's trying to emphasize that the author of this letter is so far gone from what we would recognize as a person that it's almost like they are a force or a thing rather than like someone. If you are in Camp Gaster or would like to consider the Gaster hypothesis, him being shattered across space and time and being in fragments and pieces might lend itself to the like something is walking away. Another option is that this could have been delivered by like a drone or a robot, and even though the author has some kind of magical, again, connection to us by us reading it, the actual delivery could have been performed by some little machine, or sometimes people use thing to refer to animals or like life forms that they don't consider to have personhood or in some way are lesser. So thing could be referring to an animal that has brought it. Alternately, it might not have anything to do with someone or something delivering the letter. It could also be that someone is eavesdropping or spying. Like someone was standing there observing us, and when we see that the person has finished reading the letter or we see the letter disappear, then this person or thing who's been watching us has observed the data they want and they're leaving now. Could be anybody, could be anything. More likely a thing because the use of the word thing, but it's all really fascinating stuff, very interesting. Now I want to get down to my absolute favorite part of the mysterious letter. And I love this part so much I can't even decide what I love more. Sans having a actual fuck ton truckload of Valentines or this reference here. I love it that much. So there is a phrase where the author says, put on your coat and wash your face, or put on your face and wash your coat. Not necessarily in that order or in any order at all. And I am not satisfied with the level of examination this topic has been given, and therefore this video. I'm very new to the fandom, and I had not played any of the games or looked into them at the time of the Spamton sweepstakes, so I completely missed that. I have gone back and tried to watch videos of it, but I'm honestly still figuring that part of history out. So apparently there was a coat there that was like a light blue coat, and there's speculation that this could be referring to that coat, which is totally valid. I want to share what I thought when this came out, because your coat and your face, putting them on, but also the need to wash them. Folks, we know, we have seen with our own eyes or through a YouTube video, depending on what run you did, we know of a character whose face and coat are dirty and need to be washed. That character is Sans from the genocide route of Undertale, the No Mercy route. When you manage to land a hit on Sans, it doesn't matter if you're in Camp Blood, Camp Ketchup, or Camp Liquid Determination, Sans gets a red liquid coming through the slash that you put in his chest, and the slash is going all the way through both his shirt and what we've usually been referring to as his jacket, but we have to remember he does live in Snowdon, and you could also think of that jacket as a coat because it's the snow. It could very easily be considered a coat. He touches his hand to his wound, and this red substance comes off on his hand. So we know that this isn't just looking through to a wound underneath or to a gash of some sort underneath, but it is coming out. Therefore, the jacket slash coat is dirty. It is stained with this stuff. Then we also see this red liquid is also coming out of Sans's mouth. So his face is also dirtied with the substance. Sans is the only character that we canonically know for a fact has a dirty face and a dirty coat. And if you have watched either my or someone else's video on the Sans might not really be a skeleton theory, the theory that Sans's head is like a helmet mask that goes over his head, thus explaining why his mouth never moves, thus falling in line with how none of the rest of his body is ever shown directly. It's always covered with his clothing. If that was the case, then Sans would be putting on his face as a helmet. So he needs to put on his coat and his face, and he needs to wash them. But not necessarily in that order is an interesting thing. I find this freaking fascinating. I do believe, based on this, and I'm willing to change my mind, obviously, if we get evidence to the contrary, and I would love to hear everybody's theories. Please feel free to direct me to something if I'm missing or have forgotten something, but this is so fascinating. I do believe that this letter is from Gaster, or at least from someone important, and I believe that it is written to Sans. And the fact that it says that this character is reliable, and we know that Sans has a history of trying to counteract the forces that are messing with time. Oh, that means like this person is aware of Sans's history and can rely on Sans to take meaningful actions, whether that is in aid or against the author is not established. But again, Reliable does not mean obedient, it just means predictable and can be counted on to behave in a certain way. And now for one of the most exciting parts, which, okay, folks, this is getting into just absolutely pointless speculation, but I know I'm not the only one out there that is so starved for content that we'd just love to. Okay, I had to remove a metaphor that got really out of hand, but basically, we are desperate and we will take anything we can get. So, in honor of that, in the spirit of that, I would like to dive into this, not necessarily in that order or any order at all. What is Toby Fox famous for? A lot of things, but one of those things is anagrams. He loves doing anagrams. Deltarune is an anagram of Undertale, and he's done anagrams in a lot of the characters' names, etc., etc., etc. When you have, and again, I'm sorry, I am not trying to say this is my original theory. This is just something I want to talk about and I'm excited about. When this letter says not necessarily in that order or any order at all, what I'm going to do next is take this entire statement, which includes two sentences that are basically similar but switched around, and the word or, going to take that and rearrange the letters, and let's see what we come up with. We've got dust, rune, Kara, sands, papyrus, undine, act, cast, watch, create, destroy, sword, door, heart, phone, town, forest, sea, ocean, path, road, and house. Now, these are just a few of some of the interesting outcomes you can have with this. Now, these are a lot of letters. It is not the full alphabet, but it is quite a few. I have not reused any of the letters more than they appear in the sequence, which is two sentences. But you can actually get quite a bit of stuff, and not all of it sounds super relevant or helpful. But just let's start thinking about this. Let's think of what can and what cannot be made. For example, you can spell papyrus and undine, but you cannot spell Toriel. There's some interesting stuff. So here's the alphabet. I've crossed out the letters that do not appear. The letters we are missing are B, G, I, J, K, L, M, Q, V, X, and Z. The letters that do appear are the letter A, which appears 8 times, letter C 4 times, D comes up twice, E is twice, F also twice, H is twice. The letter N comes up 4 times. The letters O and R are the only two letters that come up an odd number of times, and that is because they are the word or that is between the two sentences. All of the other letters will be even numbers because they are mirrored in the two sentences. So we have N was 4 times, O comes up 7 times, P comes up twice, R comes up 5 times, S is twice, T is 4 times, U comes up 6 times, W twice, and Y comes up 4 times. So you can make a lot of words with that, but I think it's interesting considering what you can and what you cannot make. Asgore cannot be made, Toriel cannot be made, Gaster cannot be made. So interesting stuff. TV and television cannot be made. You know, Spamton cannot be made. So it's interesting to think about. It's exciting, but above all, I would love to know what anyone thinks of the coat in the face statement. Is there anyone else that has more evidence for needing to wash his coat in his face? I'd also like to say, I know people say Sans died after that. There is no reason for him to go off screen before turning to dust except to create intentional ambiguity around that scene. And as long as Toby has intended for us to have ambiguity around the scene, I think it is worth talking about the possibilities that opens up. I love all theories, whether I agree with them or not. I appreciate everyone sharing their theories, regardless of what it is. And if anyone would like to share or discuss in the comments, I'm always excited to find more people to talk to and to just indulge this obsession with. So, anyway, I like you. I subscribe to our collective future. Thank you for being part of this community, and I hope you have a wonderful day.